So during this weekly fragrance rotation, I pulled out a bunch of new freshies in my collection. So stay tuned to find out what fragrances I chose to wear throughout the week. Hey, what's going on? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new, what I do is I make fragrance related content. So if you love fragrances, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And also be sure to follow my fragrance Instagram page. But today is another weekly fragrance rotation. I've been keeping this series going every single week and you guys seem to be really enjoying them. And I love doing these as well. But if you aren't familiar with my weekly fragrance rotation, what we do is we go over what fragrances I chose to wear on each day, how many sprays I did, what kind of temperature and weather it was, and if we got any compliments or not on that particular fragrance. But let's start this week off on Sunday per usual. Okay, so on Sunday we had an extremely hot day. It was like in the low to mid 90s, and it was also pretty sunny, but I think we got some rain throughout the evening as well. But I actually pulled out a very nice freshie that is actually targeted towards women, but I think a guy can definitely pull it off, and it's of course Thalia Sodi's Liquid Sun. Now this fragrance, if you didn't know, actually gets compared to Louis Vuitton's Sun Song, which is a phenomenal summer freshie fragrance from Louis Vuitton. But with this one I get a bunch of nerolies. I also get some coconut in here as well, and it just works perfect in the high heat, and it does come across very unisex. Now on Sunday I was at home most of the day. Only did 3 sprays of this stuff just to kind of be uplifting and put me in a happy mood, and this is the perfect fragrance for that. So that's the fragrance I pulled out for Sunday. All right, so headed into Monday, I am at work for most of the day, and it was sort of a gloomy, cloudy day, like in the low 80s, so it was not hot, it was not nice, and it was actually perfect to pull this fragrance out since I just got it in the collection and was my first time actually wearing it, and it is a brand new flanker. And of course, we're talking about Yves Saint Laurent Cologne, the Eau de Parfum flanker. Now, this actually was just launched this year. I did recently do my review of it. Now, if you don't know, this is actually a more boozy, woody take on the original L'Homme, which has that ginger, spicy citrus. This does have a spicy citrus to it as well, but just add some boozy nuances to the composition, which definitely does suit me. But to be honest, I was not blown away by this fragrance. Now, on that day, I did go 6 sprays of it. Got no compliments from anybody, and the longevity is definitely lacking, but that is known with the L'Homme line in general. So yeah, that's the fragrance I chose to wear on Monday to work, is L'Homme EDP. All right, so heading into Tuesday. So on Tuesday, also at work, and it was a little bit of a warmer day, but still kind of cloudy. And man, I actually pulled out Acqua di Parma's Fico di Amalfi from the Blue Mediterraneo line. Now this is actually my first fragrance from this line. This got a lot of hype, and man, am I happy to have this one in my collection. If you love fig, you have to get your nose on this one. This is one of the best fig fragrances on the entire market. It's very natural. It has like a green kind of tangy fig to it, but I absolutely love it. And it also has a very nicely done grapefruit in the opening as well. But on that day, I did actually go 10 sprays of this stuff. I wanted to go a little bit heavier to get a full wearing out of it, because going into this fragrance, obviously from the Blue Mediterraneo line, and it's an Acqua di Parma, I wasn't expecting much performance, so I definitely went a little bit more heavy. But this one actually surprised me a little bit. It was about average performing, and you can obviously catch my review. But on that day, got no compliments, but wow, this stuff definitely put me in a good mood. All right, so on Wednesday, back at work again. It was a little bit hotter, like in the high 80s. And I actually pulled out what is now probably my favorite from the house of Mancera. And with me saying that, you probably know what it is because I did review it. Of course, I'm talking about Mancera's Aoud Lemon Mint. Now, guys, do not let this name deceive you a little bit, because there is no mint in the composition whatsoever. But you definitely do get the lemon, and you definitely get the oud in the base. Now, it's that signature kind of Mancera, a little bit dirty, rough oud. Not really barnyardy or Fico or animalic, nothing like that, but it is a nicely done oud, I gotta say. And guys, the performance behind this one is absolutely nuclear. By far the strongest Mancera in my collection, which is a little bit surprising, obviously looking at the kind of a fresher blue bottle. And obviously it is leaning towards more of the spring and summer. You know, you could pull this one off in the fall easily, but on that day I did go 6 sprays to work, and it was projecting throughout the entire day. It didn't even go nose blind to it, which is a surprising thing because I go nose blind to a ton of fragrances. This one, I was smelling it throughout the entire day, guys. Strong, beastly projecting fragrance. Got no compliments though, because actually at work on that day, I wasn't really by anybody, but man, I enjoyed this one so much. Obviously you do get that lemon in the top, but it's more like a candy like lemon rather than like a citrus lemon, but yeah, fantastic launch from Mancera, and I'm so happy to have this one in my collection. Absolutely love it. So on Thursday, I was actually at home. Didn't really do much on that day. It was sunny, but it wasn't that hot out. I think in the low 80s. And I actually was in the mood for a minty fragrance, and this is a very good minty fragrance that I haven't pulled out in a very long time. Of course, I'm talking Mr. Burberry's Indigo. Now, this is honestly very solid and very underrated from the house of Burberry. And guess what, guys? This is actually perfumed by the one and only Francis Kurkdjian, believe it or not. And of course, if it's made by Francis Kurkdjian, you're going to be expecting a solid fragrance. Now, if you love minty fragrance, rather more so a green mint leaf fragrance, this is the fragrance for you. It's very piercing, very sharp, and extremely minty. So on that day, I actually did go 6 sprays of this one. Got no compliments, but wow, this one did definitely kind of uplift my mood, what mint is actually known for. It's a very, very solid fragrance that I will probably be pulling out more in the summertime, especially after wearing it on that day and reminding myself how good this one is. Definitely a great minty fragrance. All right, so on Friday, pretty much at home as well. Did run a couple errands and things like that, but didn't do much on that day. It was also sunny in the low 80s as well. And I actually put out a brand new fragrance in my collection, just got it in. It was my first kind of introduction to the house of Moresque. If you've never heard of them, definitely highly recommend checking them out, especially after checking this fragrance out. Now, of course, I'm talking about Sahara Blue in this hand-painted gold flake bottle that looks absolutely incredible. Of course, you have to talk about the bottle when you talk about this fragrance, but on that day, I did go 3 sprays of it. Didn't really go heavy on the trigger, just to kind of get a feeling of the fragrance in general. Now, this is actually kind of in the vein of like an Aventus DNA fragrance with a phenomenal opening that I actually prefer the opening of this over Aventus, and it actually does come across much higher quality, which is a shocker, of course. But all in all, a very great blue fragrance with a phenomenal musky, oak mossy, kind of dry down, very masculine. And I'm so happy to have this one in my collection, and cannot wait to get more wearings out of it during the high heat weather. And yeah, guys, this smells like $1,000,000. One of the best blue niche luxury fragrances I've got my nose on in a very long time. So wrapping the week off on Saturday. So on Saturday, it was sunny. It was in the mid 80s, and I actually did go out and do some shopping and stuff like that for fragrances and just things in general. So I actually was out for pretty much the majority of the day, and I decided to wear this one because I also just got it in. I had to pull it out and use it as my scent of the day on that day. And of course, I'm talking about Roja Parfums Oceania, guys. And also look at this beautiful bottle with those blue crystals as a cap. Looks incredible. Now with Oceania, I did go 8 sprays of this stuff, so a little bit more heavy because I definitely wanted to get a full body wearing. And I was in like outdoor kind of shopping malls and things like that, so I wanted to project a little bit more rather than being indoors. Now, Oceania, firstly, I gotta say this is one of the strongest freshies I've ever got my nose on. This stuff just projects and lasts all day long, which was a shocker to me. But if you aren't familiar with Oceania, it does have a very citrusy, ocean-like vibe in the opening from like mandarin orange. And I'm not sure how Roja Dove made it come across like the ocean, but they definitely did without having like aquatic notes. So hats off to him. And I gotta also say, this is one of the most complex freshies I've ever got my nose on. This fragrance is pretty much 3 fragrances bottled up in one. You get 3 fragrances throughout the entire life, from the opening, the mid, and the dry down. So the only gripe with this one is the mid, which does come across a very powdery, very floral, kind of like laundry detergent kind of vibe to it, but the top and the base is done so good. But if you like florals and stuff like that, like jasmine and things of that nature, violet, you'll definitely like the mid of this fragrance. But got no comments on that day, but this stuff was just so good, especially when it projects off your skin with the air breeze and stuff like that. Just perfect fragrance, and I'm looking forward to actually getting more wearings out of this one in the upcoming weeks. But that's what I chose to wear on Saturday out shopping, and to wrap the week off is Oceania. So let me know down below if you what kind of fragrances you chose to wear throughout the week. If you also enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch all you guys in the next upload. Take care, everybody.